Hello, my fellow YouTubers, all of my diecast junkies. Y'all already know who it is. I don't gotta say it, y'all know the intro. So, today we got us a massive haul, considering if you don't count what's in the bag on that side right there. This whole haul was literally all the diecast in it, the Transformer. All of it was like under, almost say around 240 for the entire thing. Actually, well, I guess around 340 because I wound up kind of dipping into a little bit for some a few things. But other than that, I think I spent around 300, 10, 15, 20. I don't know who's counting, but this is a pretty good size haul. Considering a few things, I've had to get some PC components together. I'm just adjusting my camera a little bit. I had to get some PC components together, things like that. But we have not had a haul for 2 months now, a little over that. So I figure I'd stop keeping you guys waiting because haul videos really, unfortunately, they haven't been pulling as many views. I wish they were, but the reality of it is I feel like not a lot of people have been watching them. So I don't really have as much motivation to post them as much anymore. But I might start doing my hauls on YouTube shorts, depending on if people prefer that. But I don't know. Plus, I've got some other stuff going on, certain things. So just been taking care of a lot of business lately. But just, all right. So let me crack into it. Let me get rolling. See if I can do this in one take. All right. So first off here, we got the Ferrari 12 cylindry. My friend says he thinks this one's kind of ugly, but I kind of disagree. I think it's kind of a cool looking Ferrari. At least it's not like the loose, which I'm sure we've all seen that butt ugly thing. But actually, I like the fact this one's got mirrors. It's pretty nice. It's pretty nice casting. Here's the back, if you want to pause and read. Now, generally with speaking, I try to keep my videos in as short a format as I possibly can. But generally speaking, like, I know everybody just doesn't really watch these anymore. So that's why I usually don't bother. So next up here, found this at Dollar Tree along with the 12 cylindry, the 64 Impala, the lowrider. You know how obsessed I am with lowrider culture. I'm sure a lot of y'all know by now. But pretty cool. I collect repeats of this, a lot of different ones that I definitely, and if they keep the lowrider schemes coming, I might have to have a few in the balance and base too. I'm gonna need more of them. There's nothing on the back, just laying low. Anyway, so next up here, we got the Verstrike, I think. Yeah, Verstrike. I'm pronouncing that. Try not to mispronounce that. There we go. Pretty cool Corvair hot rod. Hot rod styled Corvair. It's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. I like the style. So in the hot rod rack on my door, that the Impala and Verstrike are going to go basically. All right, so next up here, we got two matchboxes. Still we're in mainline time, so let's get rolling. Got the 97 Toyota Ram off-road. This one was kind of different. I like the way they did that grill guard. Pretty cool. So I guess Ram RAV4. Oh my god. Where are my marbles today, y'all? RAV4. So kind of the old RAV4. I wasn't exactly the biggest fan of the RAV4, but now that I think about it, it's kind of like Toyota's answer to the Samurai back then. I wasn't a fan of this generation because it's kind of when these were more in their infancy, but they're definitely a quirky car nowadays. I'm sure a lot of people weren't really big fans because probably didn't understand the point, but the old Yodas now, I used to think of these as ugly little ducklings, but Actually, believe it or not, I know that I look back on it, they're actually kind of quirky cars. Never really thought too highly, but this is actually kind of a cool car. Different. All right, next up here, since we're still in mainline time, and in fact, I'm going to have to, yeah, it's okay. So basically here, I believe I picked this one up as along with the Matchbox. This was a Five Below grabs when I was at Lynn Haven Mall, I think last month. Again, I haven't had a haul vid for 2 months, so some of this stuff is going to be like 2 months out. New for 26, the Volvo. It's Volvo? I don't know. Does it say Volvo on the front? It's a Polestar, but I don't really know. I think the Polestar 5 is Volvo, I'm going to say. Correct me if I'm... Whenever I think Polestar, I think of Volvo, but I think Polestar might be its own company. I don't really know EVs per se as well, because I'm not much of an EV guy. I just thought it was kind of an interesting looking casting. There's some EVs I do collect. That was actually kind of a sportier one, but here we go. Alright, still in mainline time. I'm kind of dipping into the third row, so I had to cheat a little bit to get everything on the table. You got the Ridge Raider. This is number 2. So new for 26. I collect fantasy castings here and there, but I thought this one almost reminded me of a Rally Fighter in a way. So I thought this was kind of a cool casting. I like Ridge Raider. I like a lot of the Matchbox fantasy stuff usually, so that one, kind of cool, not gonna lie. Although Matchbox is somewhat diving into the Hot Wheels realm nowadays, somewhat. They're definitely coming out with a lot less gas station cars sometimes here and there. Well, they sprinkle them in, but they're definitely starting to kind of get more of a Hot Wheels vibe into the Matchbox line, mixed with their usual flavor. Alright, so we got the 58 Corvette, new for 26. I like the Vettes this year, but the 58, pretty nice to see this in the lineup. Alright guys, now we're done with mainline time. Now we are starting to move on to some Primonology, and starting with the front row here, we're going to get into some cartuned. So, this whole line, I dug quite a lot of the castings in this. Of course, these are going to be a crack 'em open for me. We got the really nice sparkly div rod. So these are definitely going to shine in my glass display shelf. Along with, here's the other ones. I will show you all what I got. I like this one. I want it. That one I want. I still got a few I need to find in this series. I actually like this series. Don't really like the SVT. The Mustang's kind of weird looking. The only two I don't like are the SVT and the Mustang. The rest of these, I think they're pretty cool. But there's the div rod. Now, next up here, we got the 58 Impala. Again, these are by, I think, these are by MGA. The same company that came out with Bratz, if y'all don't know. But, yeah, MGA toy company. Nice to see a company that's doing their own take on muscle machines, basically. So, MGA, it might be the same company, I'm not sure. But the cartooned series. But, yeah. Nice red Impala, can't go wrong with that. Alright, next up here, got the 32 Ford 3-window. As 32s go, I do like the 32, and having the first edition of this, you know, I'm not complaining. Nice little rusted color, nice little start for this casting. This is a good entry for starting this out. Like that they went with this for the first edition. Alright, next up here. Y'all already probably know why I bought this, and it's pretty plainly obvious to see that this is going to go next to my Hero Hata collection. And the next thing I got to get in terms of the Hero Hatas, since I have the 124th, I have the Hot Wheel mainline, Now I need the Hot Wheels Legends Customs series. I think it's a Barris or John DiAgostino set. Not sure which one. But now I'm kind of craving to find that. And this is going with the Hirohatas themselves. Since I know this car, since it's so iconic. And I'm certain that's why a lot of people who actually know are probably going to also grab this, I'm guessing. So yeah, I hopped on the bandwagon with the cartoon this time around. When I was at Target, there was nothing better to get there, so I decided, hey, 5 of these for 20-ish bucks or 30 bucks, why not? So hey, the way the hobby is going, this feels like a lot of what I can afford in stores nowadays with how insane M2s are getting and everything. It's really hard to afford the good stuff nowadays, and even in 1/64 scale. So, and they got the 56 Nomad. I know prices are getting out of control because it wasn't so long ago the cartoon were $4.99. Now they're like $6 or something. So yeah, that's all I gotta say. Thanks to our former guy in office for making the inflation so bad. Our last guy we had, not the current guy, the last guy. Thanks to him for making our inflation the way it is now. Not to get political, but I didn't really like the last guy we had. So inflation's gotten worse in the hobby. I can't lie, and it's a direct result of it. Again, thank you, Joe. That's all I can say. 56 and Nomad. I don't like to discuss politics too much on this channel, but it's how I felt about our last presidency. But yeah, it's a nice little car. Alright, so now we are done with, I guess, the first rendition of Premiumology. Now we're going to get on to the center. We'll move on to the sides. And again, like I said, it's probably better to start collecting older now, given the inflation. Because nowadays you can pick up some good old stuff from the 2000s-ish on here. But we're not here to talk about that right yet. Timeless icons. And now, I definitely paid the Lamley tax on these. This is like, I stepped out of my comfort zone. Like, I mean, way out of my comfort zone. I'm talking like $60 for this entire set. It was definitely a dent on the old wallet. This was I hate to admit, this was probably one of the more expensive parts of the haul. And I was literally trying to make 4 or 5 offers because I didn't want to pay what they were really asking for this. But I wound up loosening the purse strings. To tell you the truth, for premiums, it is getting out of hand. The inflation's getting way out of hand, in my opinion. Things shouldn't be this expensive for premiums, and it definitely tempts me to start collecting some of the older stuff. But enough ranting about that. Let's get on. Porsche Carrera GT. Very nice yellow. Nice to see this in premium. I have the silver realistics version of this, but the premiums, very nice to see. Personally, I feel like the one they could have included in this set would have been a Saline S7, but that's just my opinion. Lexus LFA and Timeless Icons. That's very nice. Again, as I said, I really don't like overspending on some things. Like DMW is primarily the only place I shop at, considering I can get the discounts, especially on Hot Wheels. Unfortunately, at $9 a piece, it is pretty much about the same as you're paying in the stores. And I figure, here's the Skyline. I figure, why pay the amount they're asking in store when you can still order online, get a coupon, get them for $8, you know, just get them shipped. You know, don't bother overpaying the store prices, wasting your gas to get it. I say just order online. Some people can be real in-store Nazis. I knew a guy like that, but I don't like all the in-store. Oh, just find it in store and blah, blah, blah. And it's not been a good year for finding stuff in stores for us down here, period. But here's the Skyline. It's pretty much getting as bad as it was in 21 or 22 or 20, when it was impossible to find anything. It's starting to really stink of that down here in Virginia. We've got the Koenigsegg Agera R. Personally, I like the Agera. I personally think this should have been a Saleen S7. The Agera is just a little too new. Still a cool car, but I personally would have preferred this have been a Saleen S7 still. But still a good series. Wanted to complete it because why not? But if I had been able to get the set of 4 without the Agera for cheaper, I admit, I would have probably just bought 4 castings and just been happy that I really wanted. But not a single one was selling the entire lot with the F50 without the Agera, so I pretty much had to double down and get the whole set. It's going to be a while before I spend on Hot Wheels on eBay. It's going to have to really be something I really want that's discontinued, or I just can't get it on DMW for the price I want to pay. So, again, the Ferrari F50. Look, I'm not saying I'm too broke to afford, decent stuff. It's just that some of the decent stuff is just getting to be too much. Even though I have a lot of my benefits in order, my Humana card and like everything else I have in order that's benefit related, and I'm a lot better off since I'm getting a lot more in with the aid and everything. But I admit the Ferrari F50 is pretty nice. And I have been looking at a set that I really am going to be spinning up on, which is the Homie Rollers by Greenlight. Little spoiler alert of what could be coming. So now let's move on. Sorry about the rant. I know it's been 16 minutes and we still got a heck of a lot to go. So let's move on. Speaking of the 2000s, I ordered the Hot Rod magazine set. Now my friend really doesn't dig these as much. He just thinks the packaging is kind of outdated, but or doesn't really like the packaging, but some people have their opinions about collecting the newer stuff and the latest and greatest and some of the newest, but sometimes I think the old ways are better because everything new is becoming expensive. And now I bought a whole set of 10 of these for, I'm going to say about $60. So yeah, I feel like if I'm getting 10 of these for $60 rather than timeless icons for that price, I feel like I've won a lot better. But anyway, the Hot Rod magazine, 32 Ford Highboy. Pretty nice. Cool car. I like this one. I plan on collecting the entire series of these. Another one, Hot Rod magazine. The Chevy Nomads. Or wait, Nomads. I thought it said Nationals. I suck at reading cursive, y'all. But pretty cool. Alright. Next up here. So I don't want to knock anything off of the table. Well, I guess we can count the Supremanology number 2 now. So, got the 69 Mercury Cougar Eliminator. I just don't, the only thing I don't like about this is the way the front end sits. This definitely is not, admittedly, this isn't the most attractive casting, I can't say. Some of them look good, some of them don't. This one, I hate to say, admit, it didn't age well as some of the other ones. This one sits, this one's almost got a off-road stance, does not look good, sorry. But that's how I feel about this one. It's a little dated, not gonna lie. There's some Johnny Lightning castings that did not age well. This one's good. The Roadrunner. Although I could have done without that Cougar. That one doesn't really look good, sorry. I don't know how Johnny Lightning designed that, what they were on, but that does not look good, sorry. Roadrunner. This one actually, in my opinion, looks real good. Pretty nice. And then up here, we got something a little different. We got the Wonder Wagon. It's probably going to go with my funny cars in the funny car room. I'm not sure yet. Might. The racing room, I should say. It's pretty cool. Up next here, I'll try to get these quick because we got 2 more rows to go. Well, the back rows are going to take forever. Got the 29 Ford pickup. That one's cool. So yeah, this one actually looks pretty decent. All of them look good except for that Cougar. I can admit, I think it's kind of ugly. T-bucket, not too bad of a casting. I like the wheels they chose. Yeah, the T-bucket ain't too bad. Good casting for this. I dig it. So there's that one. Next up here, got the Harry Oldhurst. So that one, I like that one. It's going to go with all my other stuff. Might put this in the drag racing room because I got a rack of Johnny Lightnings that is looking lonely, that hasn't been filled in God knows how long in my behind my door. I've pretty much stayed the same for a while, so I need to get some of those drag racing Johnny Lightnings and get that rack more built up in the center. So that's pretty cool. Next up here, we have, now this Cougar looks a hell of a lot better. This one is the 68. I don't know why, the 68 and 69. This one looks so much better. Of course, M2 Machines has a pretty nice Cougar casting that they used to have. I don't know if they are still releasing that anymore. But that one, nice car. Another cover car from Hot Rod Mag. And next up here, honestly, I have never had 4 rows of premiums I've had to reach over. 69 Dodge Super Bee. Pretty cool. I've never had 4 rows I've had to reach over. So let's get rolling with the next couple here. So I have been looking at Lynn Haven Mall at some premiums, and this kind of has a story. I went to Lynn Haven Mall a while back and saw this there. Didn't really get it yet because for this and the Roadrunner, I think they wanted like 14 or 16 bucks for 2 premiums, and I refused to pay that. But I saw this at Kroger, and I'm like, you know what? I need this, and I refuse to leave without it. So I got the Airwolf helicopter, the heli. And yeah, this one's pretty cool. Going to stay in the package, but glad I finally found this. It was cheaper at Kroger, believe it or not. And then, finally up here at Kroger as well, I got the G.I. Joe, the Hiss Cobra tank. So another movie casting. I have a row of movie cars where it's going to go. I know what I'm doing with that. So yeah, I'm going to be putting that along with everything else. And a lot of stuff's going to get hung up today, probably. I'm just doing everything I can do right now. So there's that. All right, so next up here, got the Mopar or No Car. Now these 4 Johnny Lightnings in particular, I won them in an auction. I only paid, get this, $3 plus like 10 in shipping. And that's why I'm saying, with the inflation nowadays and the way prices are going, it pays to hop on the older stuff bandwagon. Some of the castings, yes, they can be screwy. This one actually is pretty cool. I don't have this and I liked it. I miss when they used to include little things with the car. I haven't had a Johnny Lightning haul this big since the flea market days. So again, that's what I want to state, that we ain't had a haul like this in forever. So the Tri-Chevy 56 Bel Air. Again, this was the second out of the 4 of the Johnny Lightning lot that I won the auction for. So I feel like I stole this auction. Card's in good shape. You don't see that as much when you're not paying as much for it. So cards weren't in bad shape. And I think for like a couple decent castings, I did pretty well. My friend is very opinionated on having all the newer stuff. And sometimes it's like, I don't always want to pay that, especially when I have a gaming PC I'm building and, you know, a house I'm trying to take care of as a homeowner. I can't always be affording all the newest, latest, and greatest. But I think there's a line between spending on how bad the inflation is on basically what I'm doing. So then there's this one right here, the Chevy 57 Nomad. This one's pretty cool. All right, so next up, last up, pretty much is the Super Chevy 57 Bel Air Playing Mantis era. I'm not sure if all these are Playing Mantis. These four I won, but I'm not gonna bother looking. Super Chevy. So there's that one. All right, next up here we have the Modern Muscle Dodge Caravan Turbo. Now, if y'all don't know, the Dodge Caravan Turbo was very powerful. This could smoke quite a few cars in the quarter mile. Never really dug this year, but I thought this one, the red, was pretty cool. This goes in with my Auto Worlds in the living room where I've put that particular bit of my collection, but I like this. So yeah, Dodge Caravan Turbo. And I am going to be cutting some more soundproofing in the living room so I can make some more room for that stuff. Okay, let's get on to the back. Starting off with the... I don't want to knock my camera over again. I really don't. So, Transformers twin mill. Finally got this bad boy. Found it at Target. I think it was like one of 2 or 3 they had left. So, just decided to hop on the bandwagon. I have pretty much now all the anniversary figures. I need Knight Rider, but this one's cool. Here's the back. If y'all know Transformers, y'all have probably seen the videos, I'm guessing. I'm probably late to the game with it. Alright, so now, since I'm on this side, kind of the camera, alright, so, I thought I was going to sneeze for a minute there. So, next up here is the 34 Ford Hot Wheels Legends. Very cool. I have it displayed. Usually the foam boxes I just show like the outside. I don't really show what's inside, but y'all already know what this is. I paid like, let's say 133, 140. So I mostly rounded out the Legends this year. I can proudly say that. But to tell you all the truth, in terms of 124th, this is the last I want to really be spending up on the legendary 124th. But I'm planning to go cheaper with the stuff. I plan to go cheap, but also still try to make things kind of high-end-ish, but not exactly cheap out on everything. That makes sense. The fine line I'm kind of riding. But, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying I'm going to go toy hound level cheap like that one YouTuber that I used to be friends with that buys Goodwill bargain junk. I mentioned him because, yeah, don't get me wrong, he inspired me to get started, but man, some of the stuff he buys is like, really? No offense, but eh. So now I bought this a good while back. Thing is, I just need to replace the front shock. I've got aluminum shocks. This is the Losi, the mini LMT Gravedigger. And to tell you the truth, this is one of the most fun RCs I have ever purchased. Again, you can see the shock is broken and I need to replace it. No oil in it. I have been freestyling this thing, driving the tar out of it. Things still held up exceptionally well. I've let the kids in the neighborhood drive this, which is pretty cool because I've started getting them into the hobby, which I'd much rather see kids getting into something like this than a lot of what they're doing nowadays in the news. So, you know, I'm all for letting them drive this truck if it means them getting into a hobby and not doing what a lot of them have been up to nowadays. But yeah, Gravedigger, pretty nice. And also, to cap off the rest of all this, let me tell y'all, I recently got this. I've got aluminum shocks, and now I have Team Losi Racing shock oil. So yeah, there we go. So I got 17.5 weight, which will make things a little smoother, make things a little spongier. Alright guys, well, 30 minutes of y'all's time. Hopefully y'all spent time watching this, and I got some stuff I gotta hang, I got some stuff I gotta do. I'm trying to make it to Harbor Fest today. So on that entire note, I will catch you guys later. Remember to check out my channel for more. As always, the J-Man. See ya.